What's up, gamers? Today we're going to be diving into one of the most powerful duelists, Magik. Now, this isn't going to be your typical Magik guide by me just telling you the abilities and then that's it. I'm going to be diving into what makes her great and where her weaknesses lie. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is StardustWraith, and I'm a Grandmaster Magik main. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's start with her abilities. Now, first up is her stepping disc. When pressing shift, you enter into a stepping disc that makes you invincible for roughly a second and allows you to do two things. That's Eldritch Whirl and Demon's Rage. Now, the Whirl does a 360-degree AoE damage around Magik, dealing 45 damage to any enemies within the range. The other attack is Demon's Rage, which summons a little demon to attack in whatever direction you are facing when deploying this creature. This will be important later. Next up is Umbral Incursion. Umbral Incursion is your main tool for dealing damage. It is a lunge forward, and upon contact with the enemy, Magik swings her sword upward, bringing her and her opponent into the air, dealing heavy damage. This is your #1 move. This is something that you're going to be using practically all the time to set up for just about anything. Now, Umbral Incursion is on a 8-second cooldown, so you have to use it wisely, because a lot of times you can go in and not be able to get out with it. That will be important more later. Now, to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to be referring to this as her dash. She dashes forward. Kind of makes sense. Now, it does roughly 85 damage, and it has a 16-meter range. Next up is Magic Slash. Magic Slash is Magik's only ranged option. You charge up a projectile, and the more you charge it, the more damage you do. This is great. You charge up the projectile, and the more you charge it, the more damage you do. There didn't do that much, but it's still good for securing kills. This is great for securing elims on people running away or using it in combos. Now, an example of that is something along the lines of this. Now, before I get to the ultimate, I want to touch on Magik's passive real quick. Magik's passive is Limbo's Might, and the quick synopsis is, you deal damage, you get shield for it. Whether it's damage from your sword or damage from the demon, as long as you're doing damage, you will be getting shield. So notice how my demon is doing damage, I am getting shield from that. I will also get shield from just doing my normal melee combos. Now, the max amount of bonus health that you can earn from this is about 150, so your health can cap out around 400 in total. So yeah, my health caps out about 400. Now let's move on to the ult. Your ult is really strong if used properly. You gain all of your cooldowns back upon turning into the Dark Child, as well as you are granted heavily reduced cooldowns, allowing you to enter into stepping discs almost every second in your ult, which you pretty much want to always be going into your stepping disc and doing the spinny move. I can't stress how much damage you'll be doing from spamming this move alone. I mean, dude, look at this damage. It is absolutely insane. Just from that move alone. Just so you guys see, I'm using all my abilities. And then, bam, they're all back. Now I can go into all of my combos that I want to go into. And look, my dash back again, as well as all my buttons. Now leaving, I get my cooldowns back once again, so I'm able to get out or continue my aggression if it's needed. Now, oftentimes, when you get into higher ranks, especially with her ultimate, you're not going to be able to team wipe, you're not going to be able to do everything that you want to do with it, so you're going to be trying to get out 90% of the time after you use your ult. Unless you're just him. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you are genuinely just different. You're moving different.
I'm moving different. This shit ain't nothing to me, man.
You're acting different. You get that flow state and you just tear through that enemy. However, that's not always the best option. Something that's important to note is that you have increased range on every slashing move. Your spin, your basic attack, just about everything. Now, sometimes it's better to focus your attack on low HP targets rather than go for another spin to hopefully deal enough damage to get an elim. It's very situational on when you should use what. But typically, if you go into your ult, you end up getting somebody low. Sometimes it's more useful to do that instead of, let's imagine that he's a tank and trying to cleave down him when this is a much easier target to get. Now, your Umbral Incursion, or the dash, also gets an insane buff. You do a ton of damage upon landing this move, and this time you don't go up in the air with the enemy, you just knock them up. I mean, dude, insane damage. I mean, dude, that's half her health. That is literally half her health. A little bit more. Now, a really powerful combo with this is combining it with Magic Slash. It is going to be your bread and butter one-shot combo, and yes, it kills in Cloak ult, in Luna Snow ult. If you have anybody that's not a tank, they will die from this combo every single time. Now, all it is just canceling this slash the moment you throw it into your dash. That is it. And it does insane amounts of damage. And you can do it twice. Oh, I missed. Ooh, I did it! I did it! Ooh, get let's f***ing go! Before we can move on to actually playing Magic, we need to learn some of the combos so we can secure kills quickly and efficiently. Now, the first one's going to be the melee weave. Super simple. You literally just weave an actual melee attack within your normal swings. So this is your auto. This is what I'll be calling your auto attack, because just holding down the button automatically attacks for you. I have buttons on my mouse, so I have mapped one of them to a melee button. So just whatever is most comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be 4 for melee, but as long as you're getting this animation, you know that you're doing it right. Now, the second combo is super simple. It is auto melee slash auto melee. This combo is great if you need to do a good amount of burst damage on somebody, if you need to save your dash or don't have it at all, or even combining it with your dash to deal even more damage. So something along the lines of...
You brought ice to a sword fight.
It works. It's not always the best. You don't always need to use it in the right situation, but sometimes it is nice to secure that kill with just an easy click of a button. Sometimes you need that extra damage just so you can get that kill. It just really depends. Now, the third combo is a whirl combo. That's what it looks like. I don't like this one all the time because you end up using a lot of your resources and it leaves you with very little to get back out with. But incredibly strong, kills 275 hero characters, so not that bad. Here is a combo for 250 HP heroes. What you're just going to do is you're going to just do that instead of having to use your Magic Slash, because it is so much better. Now, all that is Disc, Eldritch Swirl, Dash, Auto, Melee, in full speed. Very, very useful. I use that one probably the most out of any of the combos here. The second most used combo I use is Magic Slash Charge all the way into Dash, into Auto. This works on 275 HP heroes, so that looks something along the lines of this. And it's just a really, really huge damaging thing. Now, you can do some tech to cancel the Magic Slash into the Dash. Oh, but it's kind of hard to do. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Dude, that timing for that is insane. It's not practical. I'm just going to say it's not practical. I got it one time, but I only got it one time out of like 30 times or however long I just tried that. So it's not practical at all. Now, when to use these combos is super situational. Sometimes you'll be in a spot where you'll need both of your stepping discs to get out, or sometimes you just need your dash to get out. It just depends on the circumstances that you put yourself in. Now, a good rule of thumb is most of the time only use your disc combo if you're confident you can secure a kill. You can get out fairly easy. The reason being you're using up all of your abilities, so it might be harder to get out. Now, there are some times where you don't want to use your dash at all, and you just want to do a demon and just attack one person and use your dash to get out. That is also super viable. It just depends on what's happening in the fight. Now that you know what her buttons do, how do we actually play this character? She has two main playstyles. I call them Brawler or Backline. Brawler is when you're more inclined to play with your tank and just try to dish out lots of damage to their tanks or their front line to help build ult. This can be extremely useful when helping your tank maintain space or even just bully the enemy tank. I often find myself using this playstyle on defense or when we only have one tank, and sometimes that little extra support for your front line can be absolutely game-changing. When playing this playstyle, it is very important to play corners often. This is your best friend. I don't know how many people realize how out in the open they play 100% of the time. Seriously, I encourage you to go into one of your replays and see just how often you're standing out in the middle of nowhere, not near any cover at all. I also love using the demon to dish out heavy pressure on the enemy tank. It does so much damage. It is just a bunch of constant damage which helps you build shields as well as just pressure the enemy tank into having to back up with how much damage is coming at their face. I cannot stress how important the demon is when it comes to most of your damage, especially in 1v1s. The consistent damage will most often be way better than the whirl. Now don't worry, you whirl enjoyers, there's a time and a place for you. I'll get to it. Now in lower ranks you might not see this playstyle as much if you have better mechanics as Magik, but there is always a place for it. A very useful way to incorporate the brawl playstyle, especially when both teams are grouped up, is to take a soft off angle and try to place a demon either above or behind the tank. This will both either pressure the tank, or when he's trying to run away, he is going to be running into your demon. Also, your demon can be shot and killed, and it really sucks when you're dealing a lot of damage to a tank and then your demon is just no more, so you can't keep dealing that heavy damage to him. A good rule of thumb is to always keep one stepping disc to get out or to dodge a targeted ult, and it will happen way more than you think. I cannot tell you how many times I've had a Magneto just absolutely hunt for me. And then finally when the Magneto gets me, he just uses his ult and then just dunks on me, bro. It sucks. But you have your stepping disc, you can get away from that. You can actually dodge the entire ult with that invincibility I was talking about earlier. Now, in higher ranks, you'll more than often be playing this playstyle, partially because it's the most safe, but also support players become incredibly hard to pick off. You'll also be forced into a lot more overtime situations where everyone is fighting on points, so you won't get very many chances to use the other playstyle. This is most evident into triple support, and I'll touch more on the weaknesses later, but triple support can be incredibly rough for Magik. But you'll notice that a lot more with our next playstyle. Backline. Backline means that you do not give the enemy's backline a second to breathe. Ideally, you want to kill one support player as fast as possible. And in order to do so, sometimes you have to take soft off angles, at certain times full on flanks. It really just depends on the situation. This playstyle can be extremely risky in high ranks because people in those ranks learn how to turn around and peel for their backline, as well as the support players know how to use their abilities and they will shut you down or kill you. And it is awful when you try to go and dive a backline and you just get absolutely murderized. The main way I've found to engage is by flanking and before going in charging up your slash and then dashing immediately after. It's the most cost-efficient combo you have while doing the most amount of damage. Now, this playstyle can be very punishing if your cooldowns aren't used properly, and oftentimes I'd find myself dashing right past all enemies and I die. Now, if you can plan your escape before even going in, you will find that you survive in a lot of team fights way more. And sometimes it feels like Magik just doesn't die ever. Especially if you have a really good escape route every single time you go in, it annoys the hell out of any support players. I know because I've had it done to me countless times, especially in the high ranks. Another very big benefit of living in the fights and not just feeding your brains out is the backline just never gets a second to feel safe. You are a demon and they feel that. They feel that fear. You are lurking around every single corner and they have no idea which one it is. You want to be coming from every single angle that you possibly can come at them, as long as it's not running it down mid. If it's anywhere but running it down mid, 9 times out of 10, you will have support players sweating. Now, I personally love using my stepping disc to get out as they make you invulnerable for about a second or so each use, and you can use a demon as a meat shield. Now, do not rely entirely that that demon will be your saving grace 100% of the time. They can shoot over it, they can shoot under it, they can shoot around it. I have died behind my imp a lot, but it's okay. But just don't rely on that to be your be-all, end-all saving grace. a big thing with this playstyle is setting up before the fight. I often like to take high ground or somewhere hidden above the enemy where I know that they have to push through. So if they're trying to push through main, I want to set up somewhere high, maybe on top of a building, so I can drop down onto them. Think of it like you're just aura farming, and the aura you wield just by being perched upon a building, ready to drop on a poor, unsuspecting Jeff. This is where you might want to think about saving your dash to either get out rather than using it for an elim, but this is entirely situational. I personally will use my dash to secure elims as fast as possible, but I save my disc to get out. Typically, my game plan when doing this is to drop down, use my demon facing my target, which is very important, and then using my normal melee combo, and then I'll use my dash to get out. Try not to get super greedy with kills, because without your abilities, it becomes super difficult to do anything. You are a sitting duck, you have a sword. If they are more than like 4 feet from you, if you are not hugging your enemy, there's nothing you can do, and they get to shoot you for free. Now, I can't tell you in which situations you should go for the kill, or you shouldn't go for the kill. A good rule of thumb is, if they're low and they're by themselves, and you don't really see a way that their team can come pick you off immediately after getting that kill, then go for it. But again, you gotta play it by ear. You just have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. But a big thing in this game that a lot of people undermine is your life is so incredibly valuable. It is more valuable than one singular elimination, because you can change the fight with Magik often. Oftentimes I find myself literally holding down point by myself, and that can only happen if you are still alive. So always play your life. But yeah, in short, for this playstyle, you want to be an assassin. Go from high ground, flank, kill, get out, repeat. Just make sure that they never see it coming. Now, some general tips for both styles. Magik is very much so a timing and setup character, so sometimes it's best before a fight to set up on a very strong position. Again, aura farming and corners. Wait for the fight to start and then make your move. Moreover, when the enemy starts pushing, often their backline is most vulnerable, and most often they're too busy healing the tanks, and they're not focused on the fact that you're coming up behind them with a baseball bat to just knock them the fuck out. Now, there is much more to Magik than just those playstyles, and oftentimes you're going to find yourself going back and forth between the two mid-game and sometimes mid-advance. Sometimes you advance on the backline, get a kill, and then immediately go for the tank. It happened. You just gotta know where you're needed. On top of all the great things that Magik has, she also has a lot of weaknesses. Magik is obviously incredibly weak against flying characters, as they are incredibly hard to hit, as well as they require you to use your abilities on them. If you are adamant about going for flying heroes, it is possible. It's possible. Not recommended, but it's possible. I typically use my charge slash and dash because it's the most consistent, but you have to hit both of those abilities, so I still don't recommend it. It's more often not a waste of your cooldowns, and you put yourself in a way worse positioning. Another really bad thing for Magik is displacement abilities. There is nothing worse than trying to dive the backline and then missing your ability, trying to get out, and then an invisible woman just yoinks you back into the team, and then you just get absolutely blown up by the entire team. Or you're sitting with your tank and you get pulled by a Bucky into the entire team, and the entire team just looks at you and they're like, yep. Bucky, I'd say, is the scariest hero to go up against because of his heavy damage, his ability to displace you, and the shields he gains, rendering your abilities useless. Often I found avoiding Bucky as best as possible works pretty well, and then dive him with my team. I almost never want to take a 1v1 against him unless he's already low, or I can kill him before he can use his abilities. Another character that is really difficult to deal with is Loki, because you have to bait out his cooldowns before even thinking about getting an elimination on him. Thor is probably the scariest tank to go up against because of his raw damage and your inability to ever kill him. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating a bit, but seriously, it can be incredibly difficult to kill a good Thor, let alone by yourself. Your dash, despite being your best ability, can also be the most frustrating thing on the planet. When you miss your dash, I promise it will happen. If you are at the proper distance, you will go flying well past the enemy, and you put yourself in such a bad position. Now, another character that is also disgustingly powerful against your character. Penny can genuinely ruin some games for you if the nest goes untouched, or if you even thought about flanking. She has such good utility to shut down your advances, as well as the nest is really hard to kill. Now, the best way to kill the nest, if you are dead set on killing that nest and nobody else is shooting it, is you portal in, drop your demon, you portal out. That's it. It's not super helpful all the time because you have to use most of your abilities, so use at your own discretion. Be careful when fighting people with a very strong movement ability, because during your dash, in the moment you are in the air with them, some heroes can dash out, like Psylocke or Rocket or Black Panther, and so on and so forth. Magik is a very well-rounded character, and I still feel like we haven't even touched her utmost potential. But now that we know all this mumbo-jumbo, how do we actually apply it in our games? And let's start by looking at a few games I had and applying both of these playstyles. Okay, so I went 22-3 in this game. What the f did I do? Okay, so this is really important. We banned Bucky, as well as... I guess we didn't ban Bucky, but... Oh no, yeah, we banned Bucky. We literally banned Bucky, literally. Now this is really important. Bucky is banned here, so I basically get free range. So here I'm incorporating the Brawl playstyle, as I am playing with my tanks, and I'm honestly just doing this to pressure the enemy team, because I don't want to go into this room by myself. This room is terrifying. This room right here, there's nothing I can do if I dive this team. And it's a full team with a Namor. There's no angle I can take to get out. If I am in here, I am stuck. Now, all I'm doing here is I'm just pressuring their tank. I just want my tank to be able to walk up and do something. Now, notice how he stays at half health this entire time. And now that the supports are focused on the tank, I try to go for the Namor. And in doing so, Namor is still not healed. And this is a Grandmaster lobby. They're still focused on that tank. They're still focused on that. They're not focusing on each other. So I'm able to just run down the back line. There's that combo that I was telling you guys about. The whirl into the dash. Into the regular melee. Not the one with the magic slash. I tried to go for another combo there just in case Namor wasn't going to die. Or just in case I wasn't close enough to actually hit him. Now here I'm setting up before the fight. I'm trying to play this corner early. And get a few just quick attacks. Now, breakable walls, super useful for putting your demon there. Because your demon will absolutely cleave through anybody. And cleave through any destructible environment. They're trying to backcap us here, which doesn't work. It actually almost worked, which was scary. But, you know, I noticed. I came back. Now, I can't really do anything but build my ult here. That's all I'm trying to do. Now that I got my ult, I waited a few seconds to have Luna's ult out. There's that combo that I was talking about and why you should just be constantly spinning. Because you get some nasty damage like that. Now, we didn't need to use Cloak Ult there. It's kind of unfortunate that we did. Oh, wait. They used Cloak Ult. I can't believe they did that. Never mind. My bad. Again, I'm just more or less setting up before the fight, trying to do some damage. I planned my escape immediately. I knew that she was going to chase me. And I knew that I could either get the pick early or just go ahead and get out. And as I was getting out, it happened that she walked at me. Why would you ever do that? I don't know. Again, I'm just setting up behind him. I set up before the fight. I missed, unfortunately, there. That would have been another kill. But at this point, we're just keeping them back. There's nothing that we need to do here except for keep them back. They can't touch the point. So again, I'm setting up before the fight. I'm getting ready to either just do some chip damage or something. Now I see my target. She is alone in that room. I unfortunately can't go for it because that is certain death. But I want it. I want this kill incredibly bad. She's all by herself. No healer can get to her. She had to use all of her abilities to get out. Both her dash and one portal. And she used a portal before engaging. That means that she is now out of abilities, effectively useless. So she can't dive our backline, but I can dive their backline. And that was an unfortunate ult that just got absolutely stuck. Now I'm just going on their supports that are not being looked at all. They just will not look at their supports. I don't know why. But that gives me free range to just absolutely cleave through them. I just use that to secure a quick kill. I was a little greedy, I'm not gonna lie. Now again, I'm setting up before the fight and on high ground. Which I didn't know you could get into this bush until this game, but I feel like this is a really good part. Here, I'd calm to my team, hey guys, they're opening up a portal. And the moment I hear it actually happen, I want to go where the portal is and see if I can single out any people who are still standing outside the portal. I was unable to, so I just dropped through the portal, and I'm immediately on their backline. Immediately get a kill as well. It's unfortunate that I missed there, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. They end up ulting here, and this is actually really, really bad for us because this allows them to actually hold me. Now, I don't want to use my Dark Child immediately for the reason of I was just going to die. And somehow we ended up losing. I still don't know. But it's okay. Because next life is different. Notice how before the fight, I am already setting up for their backline. And I just saw her, so I know that there's somebody there. So I go ahead and charge up my slash. Immediately go in with all my abilities because nobody's looking at me. Because I can't... Because I didn't get the attack on her, and I realized that nobody's looking at her still. I just keep going for the kill. I go for the second person I see that's low. A good rule of thumb is if Mag is using his bubble, that means he is at least somewhat scared of dying. He wants to stop taking damage, so the moment that bubble's up, it's free range. Using my dash to get high ground to set up. This is a greedy play. I wanted to get a one-shot immediately. I should have just started spinning. I should have charged up before I even dropped down. I played that awful, and we lost because of that. Because I fed. Because I fed my brains out. That's what I'm talking about. Your life is so important. Because I died, we lost the point. I'm not even kidding. That was just disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. And we try to get solo ulted. That happens a lot. And again, I'm using my demon to generate shields as well as do a lot more damage to the tank. I know I'm not gonna win that fight, so I was trying to back up as fast as possible, but I ended up getting him out of there. Which was super lucky for me, because if he had just run me down, I was dead. There was no way I could have won against him. They go Psylocke. I make sure to block off my exit. I make sure to try to block off my entrance for that Psylocke to run and start attacking me, so I know that she's coming for me. At this point, they are fiending for me. They are literally chasing me to the ends of the earth to kill me. I am surprised that he didn't die there, but I was getting greedy and I wanted a cool clip. There's not really a whole lot I can do here except for survive and pick out anybody. Alright, that was kind of disgusting, I'm not gonna lie. But I kind of pick off anybody I can pick off. Now it's just me and Psylocke on point versus a Magneto, and we need to win this. Otherwise, they win that point. I just want to force Psylocke back to make sure that she can't touch point. And had she tried to touch point, I had Dark Child to take away any backline from them. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Now, if there's anything that I have missed or something that you think I should touch on more or make an entire video about, let me know in the comments below because I am more than willing to take you guys' suggestions. Thank you guys so much once again, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.